Sometimes, if not most of the time, I just like to look at people. Generally speaking, I keep myself occupied, and in doing so, I work a lot for myself. I don't really have too much time to be the most social butterfly of them all, so I don't spend too much time chitter chattering and, you know, catching up with people in all honesty. I see a bird from time to time, and that's about it. But I like to look at people. I like to watch people. I like to observe behaviors and picture these people on the micro, if not the macro. I look at groups of people. I look at the directions they're walking. I look at the herd and I see what time it is, where they going, why they going, who are these people. I was walking down the street one time today, and a lot of people were walking to work. It was the right time for them to be walking to work, um, you know, to fit the flow of things. And I was looking at people and I was thinking, are any of these people the boss? Walking to work, and I thought, I wish somebody was here with me so I could ask them that question. Do they perceive any of these people as the boss? As the CEO, as the high manager, you know? These people who are on their feet walking to work, more than likely, and walking to work with their colleagues as well, more than likely weren't the boss. The boss is isolated. The boss is driving to work. The boss doesn't have time to be in such position. Boss's time is more valuable. Their existence is more valuable because they hold a particular position in a corporate hierarchy that gives them the perception of having higher social value. Right? I like to observe people. I watch people in supermarkets. I watch people whilst I'm drinking coffee and at a coffee shop. I'm fascinated. I like non-verbal communication. I see people who are full of shit. I'm very, 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 very well educated on non-verbal communication, which is a smart way of saying body language. You know, I know the biological roots, if you abide by evolutionary theory, I know how to apply it in that sense, and I know how the body can't conceal the message or the response. And it's why it's not taught to us. It's why we don't learn this information. It's why there's no programs on the television that show us this stuff. It's why we don't learn about it in education, because the moment you do, you are able to assess and understand the real message that are being said, the way people really feel about each other. And it's not about us looking at each other, because I'm sure they would utilize that and weaponize that for us to fall out with each other and further divide ourselves as the lower rung of the societal ladder. But it's so we don't look at them and see what they're really saying and how they really feel, you know? When they have something to say and their body showcases and telegraphs the opposite message, it's very powerful, right? What good is politics if you can't deceive? Machiavellian 101, right? So, I like to watch people. I find it fascinating. I think it's a survival mechanism, you know? Um, I'm I don't come from a strong structure. And in doing so, I think the idea to understand people, to watch people, such as a woman, right? We call it a woman's intuition. It's not intuition, it's an inbuilt survival mechanism that woman has, that she learnt as a baby, you know. As children, parents get a little bit, shook because their baby boy isn't paying attention to them and they think the child's a bit weird, but that baby boy is more interested in the mechanics of things and more interested in moving parts and more interested in the world around them as opposed to, you know, societal communication, socializing and communicating on that interpersonal level. That's the woman's imperative. So these young girls make bold eye contact and these young girls are more engaged with their parents as opposed to the boy. And, when the little girls get together, they socialize as if they were, mature women, and the boys just like flipping destroying stuff. It's a survival mechanism as the fairer sex. They have to understand who they're about and understand who's predatory and who's a threat and so on and so forth. And I think part of that resides in me, the yin within the yang per se. It's a survival mechanism. So I like to watch people. I like to observe them. I like to see how they behave. I like to see who cares about who more. I like to see people lie to each other. And I think to myself, I've got a background in sales, right? I'm a good salesperson because of this, but I'm also a bad salesperson because of this, because I have a conscience and I have a heart, and for me to give somebody the hard sell and BS them, I can look at them and think, can you not see what I'm doing? And it makes me feel uncomfortable. Maybe if I was a little more, if I had some sociopathic tendencies, it'd work out in my favour, but it's just not the reality of such, is it? I like to watch people because it's funny. As we came out of the education system as a group, we continue to go to work in a group to the day we die. We continue within this herd, within this tribal-esque, socially engineered, manufactured movement, this pathway that's been forged for us. And if anything, I find it a badge of honour to go against the grain per se, as when I saw and observed the people who were walking to work, they were walking towards me, and that's why it made me think. I like to see how people are portrayed on magazine covers. Have they chosen a nice photo? Have they chosen a bad photo? What more needs to be said? Why do we need to read the story to know that the woman's going to be portrayed in a bad way or a good way? We can quite simply see that by the way she's depicted on the front, because your friend wouldn't go out of your way, or you would hope that your friend would be a little more conscious about putting you forward in a negative light, right? Raises a lot of questions. I like to observe people. I like to think, what are you hiding when you overcompensate? As I said, me having a overt understanding and knowledge and fascination in reading people stems from an overcompensation in a security sense. It's a necessity for me to ensure that I'm safe, right? So when I see men, women overcompensate and the whole world doesn't see it as such, they take it for truth, they take it for reality, they believe what they perceive and don't look any deeper. I find it fascinating. The big man who beats his chest and can't stay out of the gym and is feared by all and expresses anger and aggression, emotion, femininity, a hiding of oneself behind muscle, a masking of one's reality. a protection of one's inner child. I find it fascinating, the beautiful woman that everybody adores who takes 3 hours to ensure she looks that good before she leaves the house, because the reality is she doesn't perceive herself in that way. She is actually the most insecure person on planet Earth. Yet nobody sees things as they are. That was a little food for thought, a little ramble. It's not a negative one, you know. I would say that there is a duality of character. We have a counterbalance of every aspect of our psyche and our being, but I don't know if that idea of duality is weaponized to confuse us and divide us even more so. I'm starting to edge towards a perception of unity and that we are one, and I should look at us as one as opposed to a pair of counteracting principles. I like Carl Jung, and Carl Jung speaks on the principle of opposites. And that's fascinating because I always saw it as light and dark and up and down and left and right and so on and so forth. But maybe I should just start to see things as one. I like to observe people. I'm signing out. Peace.